All right, yeah, the Saturday before, it's mostly just for like people that are like they're on my email list, and it's a more of a conversion event. So that's why, forgive me if I didn't give you guys attention. I was like, it's mostly for those, but you guys are always welcome to come in, ask questions, stuff like that. That's why I also opened it up for members. So I was like, I don't want to be rude. I was like, no, but it's like it's all sales at the end of the day. Motivate them, like, look, join the community. You guys are missing out. How's everyone's day?
Recording in progress.
That's my AI chatbot. Nice. This is also going to be recorded and put on YouTube as well too, so you don't have to get crazy with notes. This is very informal in the sense that I'm going to show some examples about custom GPTs, and then basically, if you have specific use cases, we could go through those and build those right now. It's not going to take the whole like 2 hours, more or less, kind of thing. My goal is I want you, my army of AI women entrepreneurs, I want each of you to feel comfortable with how to build custom GPTs, and we could do specific use cases for each of you as well too. And I'm going to show two demos of basically different types. Oh man, where's all the men? All the men are like, they're sleeping in. They're like, we've talked to John all week. John talks too much. My A+ students right in front of the class. I'm like, let's go, let's go. Sharon, audio test 1 2 1 2. Let me know, Sharon. I think we're also, yeah, give me also, if you guys can't hear me, let me know too. Girl power. Oh, like, I'm not gonna lie, each and every one of you are literally 0.1% of the advance of AI. What each of you know, and what we're also going to teach today, you are light years ahead of so many people who haven't even bought their ChatGPT Plus plan, for example. Like, they're still on that. Nice. So I'm super appreciative for each and every one of you. All right, let's start cooking. All right, kind of have a formal demo. All right, and now I'm also going to get my Notion for note taking, because it's always good to have a digital notebook right aside. I hope everyone's having a blessed day. Also too, happy Saturday. And let's cook. Okay, so what I'm going to do just for the first like 15 minutes is just do demonstrations, because we just want to conceptualize to understand what are custom GPTs, why would you want to use them, and then what are the two different flavors, and then we'll go through an exercise of building one for each of those, so that you can understand basically how it's all the workflow. And then from there, we can open up the forum. If you want one help built, we'll build it live together basically, and then you'll walk away. I'll give you access to it so that you can download, start using it, and so forth. I'm super excited for this. Okay, my life runs on coffee. Nice. Okay, let's start on a very high level. What are custom GPTs, and what are the two different types? Most people are playing with ChatGPT and just starting conversations with it. Hey ChatGPT, ask a question, do a task, help me do something, basically. The problem with ChatGPT is you're relying on its regular brain, let's call it. And all large language models they're really smart, but they have a knowledge cutoff. Usually, I think right now, ChatGPT has a knowledge cutoff of June 2024. It doesn't have any information after that, for example. And then there's also what I personally call is local knowledge. Local knowledge is basically information specific to you or your task or your business or what you work on, the tasks and projects that you work on. For example, I have a document here. This is just an FAQ page for the AI community. Fundamentally, it's just dumped. There's no structure or order. It just contains all the information. What's the business name? What's the website? What's in the free training? What's the AI Academy? It's basically just a giant FAQ page, and it goes on and on and on. ChatGPT does not have this information in its brain. If I go to ChatGPT right now and ask it about, hey, tell me about the AI community, ChatGPT is gonna be like, I don't have a clue, bro. I don't know what you're talking about. I can find it on Google. So this is what ChatGPTs are very helpful for. Is they're helpful for two use cases. One as a tool, and then two as an advisor. Those are the really two flavors of them. And I'm going to show you a demo of each of those. And then we'll go into underneath the hood of them. So let's do an example of a tool. Actually, I really like this one as a tool. This is perfect. Okay. The reason why when you're using ChatGPT as a tool, you're trying to save yourself time from a task that you have to do over and over again, but it takes an hour or 2 hours or something. It's very laborious and you're like, oh, it's the same thing I have to do, but it's very time. For example, when I do my one-on-one coaching and my high ticket coaching package, I take notes with the entrepreneur and I'm gonna let me bring up some notes, for example, so we can take a look at that. So let's take, I'm going to take, let's do this one actually. Keen's not on the call. Keen, we're going to use your notes. Okay. I'm going to take this notes. Okay, so this is, for example, one of the entrepreneurs in my high ticket coaching program, Keen, where I work one-on-one with him. And so basically, I'm doing my notes. I'm basically just chicken scratching. These are my notes. They're very keywords here. There's no long sentences. I'm just kind of organizing information, basically. So this is what my notes are for when I'm working one-on-one with him. And then after, I need to give him a 30-day action plan. Welcome, Eric. We're basically talking about custom GPTs, and the two flavors of them, there are tools and there are advisors. And so right now, if you haven't missed much, I'm just going into a demo of a tool, for example, where when I do one-on-one business coaching in my high ticket coaching program with entrepreneurs, I have chicken scratches and I'm like, oh, these are just roughly. So after our call, I have to spend time and manually turn this into a 30-day action plan. That takes me an hour of time to try and figure out, oh, week 1, do this. Oh yeah, here's the top 5 tool. That's a very time-sucking task. So what I did is I was like, oh, that's a good opportunity for building a custom GPT. So here, this GPT, it will always take some standard input and it knows exactly how to either do something with that information and then output something that I want in like a specific format, for example. Like, so I'm going to input my chicken scratch notes and it's going to output a very clear 30-day guide that I explicitly said, give me the tools, give me the marketing strategy, give me a 30-day action plan, and give me an executive summary, basically. So I gave it a framework, and I'm like, when I pop this in, you give me that on the outside. So we're going to see that as a demo. So I'm going
Jonathan, I just want to clarify. So these are the manual notes you're putting into Notion AI, right?
Good question. Notion has its own AI. I say avoid Notion's AI because Notion's AI, one, is going to charge you more for it. And then I'd rather you spend that money on an actual GPT plan or an actual large language model, or like ChatGPT Plus or Cider, for example. So these are just regular notes that it's a good question because these aren't Firefly or Fathom notes. These are me manually typing.
So these are Firefly notes. And do you put them manually or it takes notes for it by itself?
So I actually, while Fireflies, Fireflies and Fathom for a lot of people are two different AI note-taking tools. Like Fireflies is doing that right now. I still take my notes manually because I have kind of like my own methodology on how I organize information, and I need to do it in real time so that it's just a habit that I've always done. So I don't really, technically, I don't rely on Fathom or Firefly's note-taking tools. So I could, but I technically personally don't. But you could we'll take some notes from Fireflies as well too to see the difference, which would be interesting. But yes, you could do it manually or with AI. I think I have here Keen. Yep, this is so nice working with it. So we'll do both and compare them and see how it actually interprets. Because Fireflies is going to take more robust notes because it's documenting everything, for example. So nice. Let's try this out. So these are my notes, just super all over the place, and I'm just going to copy that. I'm good. Whenever this is kind of a good habit too. Whenever I'm working with an important tab or tool, I just move it to the far right side. So that way I know if it's important and I'm actually actively working on that, I just move to the far right side so it's easy to find because it's very quickly that you have 14 tabs open. You're like, oh, where's that thing?
Or 25, yeah.
Yeah, and you're like, oh, I can't find that one app. I gotta start over. And you're like, So I'm gonna paste the tools and press enter. Now this is using Custom GPTs as a tool to save me time from having to do something manually. And then while it cooks on that, I'm going to open another conversation here. I'm going to open the same Custom GPT action plan, and I'm going to take the notes from Fathom, copy entire summary, and I'm going to paste it in. Boop. That's the amount of effort that I have to do. Done. That saved me an hour and a half. So now it's going to go through, and it's going to go through. Not gonna lie, probably Fireflies is going to be more comprehensive, but it's also go for it.
Just with these custom GPTs, does it like you're doing two different iterations, right? With the Fireflies notes and then your notes, right? Mm-hmm. Two different stream, but does this in the future, like if you were to run this GPT again, does it take into consideration anything you put in the past? Kind of like a chat window in OpenAI, or does it continuously train itself? Like if I use this for different clients, for example, right? Mm-hmm. Is it gonna confuse itself with one client versus another based when you submit new information to it?
Excellent question. So on the left-hand side, you have the unused, let's call it the never used, brand new right here. And then when you click on it, it starts a brand new conversation. And then what all the information will stay in that conversation. It doesn't go back to the custom GPT to update it unless you do it manually, which is a great question.
So it's almost like a new chat window like we use today when we're asking. Okay, got it.
Exactly. No, that's very powerful. Because there are times when you're like, hey, this was actually really helpful. I want to go and update the information from our conversation into the brain so that future versions that are generated, it won't do it with any ones that, I think it will do it if there's conversations already being had. So it just goes and updates, let's call it the master brain, basically. But it's a manual process as well, too. Excellent questions. So now, ChatGPT is basically, this is the one for my chicken scratch notes. It's like, oh, for Keen, who's not on the call, Keen, it's like, oh, here's your core business model. Here's phase one. Here's the technology, hyperlinks and everything. Here's your tech tools you want to do, because I need to give this action plan roadmap to the business owner after, so they have all the information. They know what tools, what week 1, what week 2, and then I'm going to help them execute on the basic things. So this outputs that the way I want it, and then we could take a look at same thing with, it's roughly the same, but also notice, which is actually kind of interesting, how this one actually does a to-do list, because it actually takes how Notion has checklists. So just the format of the information kind of changed the output just a little. It's roughly the same information, but it's like, so it's sensitive to what you put in, is also what you get out as well too. And it's not always going to be the exact same thing every single time. So here it gave me the same information, and it actually gave me more information from the Fireflies notes. And there is probably, there technically is a way, 100% yes. After the conversation is over, I can trigger an automation from make.com to go get the conversation from Fireflies and send that to a custom GPT, and then have it do the notes and then email the client. So I could technically automate this whole process, and once I'm done with the client, I don't even have to do anything, more or less. That could be later on kind of thing, that is possible. But I just want to vary on a simple side. It's a tool. It's saving me time. I'm going to give it notes, and it's going to give me a roadmap back. That's all. That's basically what tools are. Let's do the next type, which are called advisors. Actually, let me show you just a little nerdier. Another tool. This business, they're a lawn care business. So when they go to the client's house and the client has a huge yard and says, I want you to regrass my whole yard. Every yard is a different size. And so the business owner has to waste an hour and a half getting out the tape measure and taking notes on the size and the materials and everything. And then he has to waste time trying to figure out an estimate quote to quote the homeowner to say, yeah, that's a $1,000 job or that's a $2,000 job. He has to calculate in his head with the little calculator material, time, and labor. And it's always over or under, so it's not consistent. So again, it's a task he has to do over and over again. It's always going to be standard input, and the same is going to output an estimate, for example. And so that's, again, an opportunity for a tool that you can use for GPTs. So I'm going to click this example here to say, hey, I need a grass estimate for a yard that's 30 feet by 40 feet. And the GPT is going to be like, oh, I need a little more information. Do you want the old grass removed? Do you want the topsoil? It's going to just like clarify, because these things will impact the price. I'm going to say yes, 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 yes to everything. So it's like, hey, do you want any more? I'm just going to be like, yes, 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 yes. It's going to ask me, okay, cool. So now, already it knows in its brain, it knows the cost per labor, the cost per material, and the cost per, I think, employee time. And so it's now going to go through the estimate and format, and it's going to say, okay, based on that, I did some math. Here's basically what we're going to do. Here's the estimate breakdown of the cost for all the different parts of it. And here's the range on the low and the high end. And so now the business owner, in about less than a minute, immediately gets a range, and he can fine tune these. He can make it a little more accurate so it's more profitable for him, for example. And he says, business owner, I could do this project for about $2,000. And the client's going to be like, that was fast. How'd you do that? Because everyone else that's come, they have a pen and paper and they waste 3 hours, and then they get back to me, and by then I'm not interested, and it's too expensive, and they disappear. And so speed. So that's where we're using this as a tool to do an estimate. I use mine for a note translator, let's call it. And these are different types of tools. That's all GPTs are. One are tools, and then the next one we're going to do, which is probably the most powerful type, is advisors. Advisors are really powerful. Advisors come in basically two flavors, or there's the most popular two flavors of advisors are life coaches and business coaches. Those are the most two types of advisors that most people are going to build in their personal life. They're going to use ChatGPT as a life coach. On their business side, they're going to use ChatGPT as a business or marketing coach. Because what all AI does is just do one of two things. Increase your productivity, meaning you spend less time to do the same work. It saves you hours. Or two, it helps you make better decisions, basically. And that's where the advisor comes in, saying, hey, ChatGPT, I'm thinking about running an ad campaign. I don't know what should the lead magnet be. You know my customers better than I know them. Who should I basically like? What are your recommendations? Let's talk about this. I need to consult. Like, I need some help. I'm thinking and brainstorming. Am I all over the place? Like, I need some guidance, for example. So here, this GPT inside of its brain knows every detail about my customers, their pain points, their struggles, their goals. It knows my customers better than I know them, for example. And so now I can use ChatGPT, this custom GPT, spin up a new conversation, and say, what are the top 3 things that keep my customers up at night? And then I want you to take the number one problem that keeps them up at night, and I want you to create 2 ad campaigns. First thing that it does is it calls out the ideal client. It talks about the specific pain point that keeps them up at night, and then I want you to give them an irresistible offer that they would be foolish to say no to bring them in as a low ticket to my business. Period. You are also an expert copywriter. Cool. So now you could be very brief with the prompt because it already knows everything about my business, my customers, everything already there. So now it goes, oh, I got it. And the really cool thing too, while it's writing, is I could open. I'm notorious for doing this when I'm in a drive-through or I'm cooking and my hands are busy. I have this unrelenting need to be productive at every hour of the minute or every minute of the day. So then I'll open ChatGPT app on my phone. I'll press the voice option and just set it aside, and I'll just talk to it. I'll be like, you know what, ChatGPT, what do you think about this campaign? I'm not hitting my revenue goal. Like, I have this product, I have this price, I'm getting this many customers. What do I need to do differently? What can I create differently as a lead magnet, irresistible offer? Like, what do you recommend and why? Boop, 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 and it'll talk to me, and we go back and forth, and we'll go through. I'll be like, explain that a little more. Okay, turn that into an ad. Okay, and we'll go back and forth. My hands are busy. I'm either in the drive-through or I'm cooking, for example. So here it goes, okay, I know your customers because you literally wrote it inside of its brain, basically, and I'll show you inside. It says, okay, it knows the 3 pain points. People don't know how to monetize AI tools and skills. They're overwhelmed with too many AI tools, and they're really struggling to even automate their business with AI. So I'm like, okay, I know those are the 3 pain points. So what should I focus on? The number one problem, which everyone wants to know. How do I make money with AI? That's like, if I could have a t-shirt and I could sell t-shirts for how to make money with AI, that's the biggest thing. So let's create an ad campaign for them. So it's like, great. Hey, entrepreneurs, still not making money with ChatGPT? Ooh, that just pressed a pain point button right there, because they're like, triggered now. You're like, what do you mean? Of course I'm trying to figure out how to make money with AI. Like, dang it. And like, you know how? What are you doing? I gotta know. What are you doing over there? Let me see. You're playing with powerful tools, but where's the profit? How are you actually making revenue? So it's like, you're spending hours experimenting with tools, right? It would have took me 1 to 2 hours to try and come up with this ad campaign from scratch, basically. And that's what this advisor just saved me. I have to come up with an ad campaign. I could waste time trying to come up with it from scratch and the words and try and A/B test. This Custom GPT knows everything about my business. So then it helped me create an ad campaign. And of course, whenever it comes with AI and making money or anything just like AI and revenue side, it's always going to be copywriting. It's always going to be the irresistible offers that you create to communicate to your customers for them to go, yes, I'm suffering with that pain. Please take my money so that you can solve this. I don't want to deal with this pain point anymore. Please help me. It's always about understanding them better than they know themselves. So then it goes on and on and on. So the basic thing is, hey, this GPT knows everything about my ideal customers. I need a project to create an ad campaign. I could do this manually, or I could ask my advisor, my expert, basically. Let's do just another example of a life coach. So this one's a life coach. It knows everything about me, my fears, my dreams, my goals, my vision board, everything basically. So I need a life coach because you know what? I think I'm making some mistakes in life. I think I'm doing some bad habits. Like, I need help. I need guidance. I need consolidation. So here I can say, hey, ChatGPT. I'm struggling with wasting time playing video games. I know that I should be working on my goals right now, but I just don't feel motivated right now. I don't know, I'm burnt out. I've been doing cold calls and I keep getting rejected. I don't know if this is the right path for me. I know I want to be an entrepreneur and I want to sell AI solutions to businesses, but I've been struggling for the past 6 months trying to get my first lead. It's very overwhelming. What should I do and why? It's going to search its knowledge base. It's like, ah, based on that. Now, technically, I would use the voice feature here, so it actually just talks to me, so I could hear. It's much actually easier because I'll go on a walk or something like that, and I'll press the voice feature, and I'll just kind of talk with it. I'm like, hey, ChatGPT, you're a therapist. Give me some brutal, honest advice. Should I banned someone that was actually important. Should I not have banned them, or should I bring them back? I don't know. They weren't really productive in the comments. Should I bring them back into my community? And they're like, oh, you may be overreacting, or you may be too quick to pull the trigger, or whatever. So it's basically to help you with the life coach situation that you're like, oh, you need to get real about burnout and lack of clarity. What you're describing sounds like burnout, self-doubt. You need to zoom out while you're playing. You may be playing the wrong game. AI is hot right now, but you're not getting traction. Maybe you need to shift from push to pull. That's actually pretty cool. Pick a niche. Pick a simple value case. Do something there. So it's giving me more awareness. It's giving me more. So basically, I'm now using it basically as a life coach. There's business coaches, life coaches, there's therapists, there's all sorts of different use cases. That's a knowledge expert in some domain, and that you can use it to feed it more information. You can feed it. Now let's get to the next stage, which is looking underneath the hood. I'm going to go to actually my most famous one, the one that actually makes me money, which I'm going to give to all of you inside the AI community, my golden treasure. Let's see if we can load it, if it opens. He is called Offer Architect. Offer Architect. So this GPT has made me more money than I can say, honestly. Like, this custom GPT is very specific. It is a copywriter, fundamentally. It helps me craft the words that I use for my 4 irresistible offers, my lead magnet, my low ticket, my high ticket, and email marketing campaign. It helps me craft the messages and words so that they're so irresistible that the ideal customer would be foolish to say no to. That's all marketing is. So before you get into the tactical funnels and go high level and automations, all that stuff, it really just comes down to the words. The words have the highest ROI, and that's where the quickest win of like using AI in any sense, especially when it comes to business, it's always going to come down to copywriting. It will make or break a business, basically. The words that you put on your website, on your lead magnet, on your ad campaigns, those will literally make or break a business. How you craft them, basically. So this Offer Architect, I'm just going to go underneath the hood because I want to show you 2 different ways of what's actually inside of it. And then we'll actually go to the next stage of actually building one. So ChatGPT, basically from here, is so this when you look inside the brain of a custom GPT, it's just a form. You're just filling out a form. It's always going to be standard. It's always going to be roughly the same type of form or questions. You're going to give it a nice picture, which is always fun. You're going to give it a name, and then you're going to give it what's the purpose of it. This one guides the user in crafting high converting product and service offers using expert frameworks in conversation and easy to understand way. And then here, there are 2 parts to upload knowledge into the brain. You could upload text, which is right here under instructions, but it's kind of limited. I think it has like an 8,000 character limit, for example. But then there's files, like PDF files and actually Word documents, for example. Those are the other side that I want to show. So starting off right here, I could just dump. Hold on. That's my cider. I don't want disable. Yeah, disable. Okay, cool. So I'm just going to expand so I can see what's underneath this hood. So I highly recommend definitely go through the ChatGPT course because in the ChatGPT course, there is a lesson here. That's probably the most valuable lesson is how to do prompt engineering. Beginning, and then there's the ultimate guide. Definitely go through the beginning prompt engineering lesson to summarize it. And actually, let me go through the ultimate guide too. To summarize prompting when you're feeding instructions to the AI, this is the beginner 101 level, basically, of how you actually prompt it to behave the way you want. For example, it always just starts with 3 elements: role, task, and output, we'll call it, instead of format. Role is like, who should it be? Should it be a CEO, marketer, coach, consultant? This is if you're building an advisor, for example, a therapist, journalist, advertiser, copywriter. And you'll notice here that in my GPT, he starts off with that same thing. Right here, it acts as an expert copywriter, and that's pretty much its role. So within the first sentence or two sentences, you're going to give it a role. You're like, hey, you're an expert copywriter, you're a coach, consultant, whatever. And then next is the task. What are you going to work on? What is going to be the input that you're going to give it for it to do some work? I like treating all GPTs basically as college interns, and I'm like, that's the competency that I keep them. If they're to the productivity of a college intern, that if I give them a task and be very explicit to say do step 1, 2, and 3 with it, they're going to go do it faster than I could do it on my own. That's basically what we're doing here. Is we're going to say, hey, I'm going to give you details about a business, and you're going to write very highly compelling offers for a product or for a service. And then I want you to be very explicit. If this comes into software development or writing computer code, computers are very, very fast, but they're very dumb. Like, they will do exactly what you tell them, but if you didn't tell them to do something, they're not going to do it. They're not going to infer it. So that's why everything, you have to be explicit, each line, what exactly you want it to do, because they'll behave exactly the way you want. And if they don't do something that you want, it's just because you didn't add that extra line. And this gets into when you're trying to improve a model, it does something you're like, hey, you should actually, like when I have it write social media posts, it writes hashtags, and I'm like, I don't want hashtags, so I'll add an extra sentence. Don't add hashtags. And it's like, okay, got it. And then you're basically doing that. So here, I'm being very explicit. This is technically using Alex Hormozy's 4 elements of a Grand Slam offer. So it's going to work through each of these steps to try and craft an offer. And then...
Jonathan, I have a question. Do you think it would make sense when we create in this brain for the GPT, would make that extensive research, sort of like you did for your presentation for the real estate agents, like go all over the place and ask all models what they find and kind of then comprise it to some document and upload that as a knowledge?
So you're going to use that if there's what I would call domain knowledge. So right now we're crafting the behavior, like how should it behave, and then what you're referring to is what I would call domain knowledge, which actually would be, so the answer yes, and it would be added right down here under knowledge. So one at the very top would be behavior. How should you behave?
Right.
And then here
That's
would
the
be
distinction. Behavioral goes there. All the other knowledge goes over there. Okay.
Absolutely, that's a great way to, because then all the research from like Manus and like Gene Spark is like, I'm trying to use that word more. Take that, put it in a PDF. Actually, pro tip: put it in a. We'll get to that point, but put it in a doc file, because the AI can read an editable doc file faster and easier than it can read a PDF file. And ChatGPT, if it can't read the full file, it actually won't tell you. Manus will. Manus will be like, look, I'm struggling to try and read the PDF. I can't convert the text into like the image or the PDF into text. I'm struggling. And I'm like, oh, let me give you an actual text file. Here's all the characters. And it's like, oh, thank you. And it just consumes it. ChatGPT will kind of read it. If it doesn't, it just doesn't tell you, which is annoying. So then you're like, hey.
I saw that you were showing that you go to that website, find the book, and that gives you the PDF file. What do you do with that then?
Yeah, you just have to drop it in. There are, it's pro tip, there's a limit though. If you have a PDF document and you're finding that when you upload it to the brain, it's not really, it's missing chapters. It doesn't like it should be talking about something, but it actually can't find it or understand. It could be the characters, OCR. It could be like it can't just read the PDF, for example. It just was scanned multiple times, for example. So if you print a PDF, let's just open a regular PDF and you print it and just do 20 pages at a time, you could, and it's a very laborious process, but if you really need the knowledge accurately, then you could open Microsoft Word, which is 666. I don't know, ask me why, or is it 9.99? 9.99 a month. You can open that PDF file in Microsoft Word, or actually, no, sorry. You can actually open that file for free in Google Drive, and Google Drive will instantly convert that PDF 20-page document into text. And then you get a Microsoft Word, because I did it for a client here. Let's do, I think it was this one. Yeah. This was a PDF document that basically I exported 20 page or exported a 20-page version of it, opened, just drag and dropped into Google Drive, and when you open it, Google Drive is able to, let's see, trust. Yeah, these. So if you open a 20-pager, it's not going to give me the PDF. PDF. Give me that one. When you open that PDF document right here, you just go open with Google Docs, and now Google Docs is going to convert that. I found it has like maybe a 20 to 30 page capacity limit before it just doesn't do it. It just converts it to an image basically to like shortcut. So that's one way to convert if you really need all the text, but 9 times out of 10 it's going to read the PDF. It just depends on how accurate. This is more like when you're generating the file of knowledge, it's already going to crash. When you're generating basically you're creating a Google Doc, you're dumping it full of information, just save it as a .doc or .dot file, like right here. Just save it as a download Microsoft Word file. That's just going to be easy, so that you give that to ChatGPT or you give that to Manus or even Claude or anyone else. It's going to be able to read all the text in it. It's just a little nuance. Excellent questions. So this is just the behavior. How do I want you to behave? Your role, I'm going to give you this information. This is the task 1, task 2, step 1, step 2. I want you to do with it. And then basically, how do you want the output? How do you, like, I want my my notes in this framework. Give me the executive summary, give me the tools, give me the week by week playbook that they should do. What is the output that you want it in? Do you for the estimate tool, give me the materials, give me the overview of the steps, give me the cost, give me the breakdown. You have to be very explicit how you want that information back, because ChatGPT, if you don't tell it, it's going to make up its own version and do it differently every time. So you always want to be very explicit. What's the output? When I write my books with ChatGPT, I'm like, I want each chapter to have an opening hook. I want it to have 2 or 3 paragraphs, and I want each paragraph to be captivating and interesting. And in the last paragraph, I want you to end on a cliffhanger, for example. So 4 paragraphs, every paragraph when I have you write my chapter for my book, for example. So you're just being very explicit. What do you want back? Because if not, it's going to make up its own way, and it's going to be different every single time, for example. Conversation starters are really kind of mostly for tools than they are for advising GPTs, because the tools you can preload like a use case, like do some analysis, like give me an estimate or something standard. It doesn't really matter much with advisors, and these conversation starters are these little pop-ups right here. It doesn't really matter about having these pop-ups because you're just going to start a conversation with your own question. It's always going to be different. So I like to think of conversation starters as like optional, but I always just like removing them so that I could just open the bot and just start talking and we're jamming, basically. Knowledge comes, there's 2 places you could get knowledge, and I recommend 2. Knowledge number 1 is you generate it. You create a Google Doc just like this, and you're going to basically just dump all the information related to whatever you want this thing to know about, like contextualized knowledge, for example. And so this is basically like, hey, this is everything about my AI community business, the website, the owner, about the free gifts, about the daily training, about the AI community. There's no order or structure to it. It's just FAQs, basically. dumping, 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 dumping. Now, I'll take this, and you could do as so. Also, there's a quick thing. Actually, I'll just use that ChatGPT. ChatGPT. What are the null in Custom GPT? Actually, in Custom GPTs, what are the limitations with files attachments in the knowledge section? It's actually kind of cool. Bum, 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 ba-dum, 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 bum. Okay, cool. Okay, cool. So you can upload in this section right over here, this knowledge file, this section right here. You can upload PDF files, Word documents, text files, PowerPoints, and spreadsheets. Spreadsheets is actually kind of cool because you can upload, say, for example, sales data, and then it will do charts, it will do analysis, it will summarize. It's actually pretty cool. There's other files, images, audios, codecs, zip archives. Oh, these are not processed. I don't recommend these. So these are what you want to upload. These are the main two, basically. And then size limits, just a little nerdy. Make sure that the file, usually each file is capped at 20 megabytes. And then total size, I mean, honestly, you can, when you download the file, right here on Mac, there's a column right here. If you right click, you could click size, and then you could kind of see, it's going to give you an error anyways, basically, but you could kind of see, this is just, you don't have to worry about it, but something. You could split it up into two files. File print, do it half, and then you have two files, and you could pop it in his brain, basically. Total size, so limited across all the files, usually around 100 files or 100 megabytes total. Darn, you can't load more than 100 files. Oh well, I think that should be enough. So at least it's pretty dangerous. GPT doesn't memorize the entire file or word for word. It extracts useful information like facts, definitions, and structures, and builds a searchable index. It won't quote or list every detail unless asked specific questions that match the context. And then if the file has complex formatting like tables, charts, some details may be skipped. There is a phenomenon called needle in the haystack. What that means is that, I don't know if they really solved it per se, where basically if you give it a document, let's say, this is like many pages of documents, but basically if you give it a bunch of information, it knows everything in the beginning and everything at the end, and sometimes things in the middle kind of get lost. Sometimes, not all the time, but just sometimes. It's called needle in the haystack. It's just, as the models get better, I don't know if they still have that kind of thing, but they're getting better with that kind of thing. Things you can't do: can't read images inside PDF documents. It won't update automatically. If your document changes, you have to re-upload it. It won't do deep math or code executions from the files, and it may miss footnotes, comments, or even page numbers. Good to know. So here, I'm just going to go File, Download, Doc, save it as a .doc, and I'm going to go to my brain, and I'm going to go Upload and Knowledge Hub. Done. So that's one way to upload information. You could use Manus, scrape all the information, dump it into Google Doc, even if you just brain dump it into a Google Doc, and then you could give it to ChatGPT. Next is what I call library. Library is basically, you're going to go to Amazon. We're not going to talk about the ethics of this here. However, I'll let you debate that. You could type, what are the best copywriting books? Who are the best authors for whatever knowledge or domain or industry, for example? You could download these books. There's ways to convert them into PDF, and you could dump those into ChatGPT's brain. There's Ocean of PDF is another resource. Great resource, highly recommend it. Definitely download a bunch of video or books before they take it away. Save them in a Notion database. Well, this is just another place that you could get Think and Grow Rich books and resources from here. You could click on it. You don't need to download or you don't need to create an account. And then from here, you could click PDF fundamentally. So that's there. Then there's another one, archive.org. Well, there's two more. Archive.org, sometimes, I'd say about 40% of the time. You can get PDF books from here. You have to filter on the left-hand side, go to text. And here, sometimes, one, you'll find many different copies of it. Sometimes, when you click on it, depends on the mood. Yeah. There sometimes will be options right here to download as a PDF. Just another way. And lastly is Scribed. Scribed is a membership that you can, I forgot how much it is, but they have a ton of PDFs and sometimes books, but mostly all sorts of like PDFs, super obscure stuff too. So you'll find all sorts of resources here too that you could also get. We'll call it author knowledge. Sign up free, download, add it to ChatGPT, just upload. Super simple PDFs. Nice. Superpowers, also called capabilities. Superpowers basically are like, hey, what extra powers do you want your GPT to be able to do? Do you want to give it the ability to search web when the user gives it a request? Do you want it to Canvas is when it gives you a response, it will put it in a mode that's a text editor. So when it outputs a response, then you can actually edit it in real time, like a text editor, like basically Microsoft Word, basically. Real interesting. I find it, I'm not gonna lie, I find it super annoying. I actually disable it because I just don't like, I use Notion as a text editor, and I'm like, just give me the text, because I found it actually gives me less of a response because it burns more tokens to do the Canvas feature. I think that's like my hypothesis, like kind of thing. So I'm like, no Canvas, just give me more raw text. I'll take it out and put it in Notion, and I'll do my magic with it. I'll do my editing. Dolly image generation is now better than Midjourney. It is worth it. It does text, very powerful. And then lastly, definitely I would highly recommend just always check these three. They're going to be there when you need them, because sometimes you want ChatGPT to do some math. Hey, if I want to generate $10,000 in annual revenue and my product is $50, how many sales do I need, for example? And it can do some math. It's going to write a Python program, do some math, and calculate. Because fundamentally, large language models, they're not sentient. They're not the path to AI. They don't have reasoning. All they are basically fancy text auto predictors. That's all they are. So if you type the sentence "the sky is," it knows statistically, based on its data, and statistically, it's going to say, blue is usually what comes next after that sentence. That's all they do fundamentally. Like if you use Google and you type in, it tries to auto write the rest of the sentence. That's all ChatGPT based, or all large language models fundamentally behave. Actions. This is going to be a little advanced. So use our conversation data to improve your models. No, opt out. No, ChatGPT, I don't want you. All AI is data harvesting, fundamentally. All AI, any business, data harvesting. Just a quick thing there. Okay, actions. Actions are a little advanced, but actions, which you can set up, is you can have ChatGPT write the code, so you don't even have to write the code, but it's going to be some piece of code that it could do one of two things. It can call a service like the weather service, APIs basically. It's going to call it and say, hey, what's the weather on Tuesday? And then it will go get that information and bring it back. It could call an RSS feed, like a blog post, and say, hey, what was the newest articles that came out for Forbes? Can you give me those? And pull that information in. So it can call an external app or service, get some information, and bring it back in. Those are called actions. It can also send information from your conversation out to somewhere else. That's going to be through, like, say, for example, like, hey, write an email. John is awesome. Great. Send that email to john@gmail.com. And then it's going to use an action that you've written a piece of, and it will write the code, so you don't even have to write the code. And it will send that information as I'm getting a little bit nerdy, but a JSON packet. It will package it so computers can actually understand and organize it. And it will send it to a webhook. A webhook is just like a phone number that's always available 24/7. So make.com is like, yo, send me the information, just call me up, send it over, and I'll do some magic with it. So then ChatGPT says, hey, sends that message and email using an action to like a phone number like make.com to receive it, and then make.com you have an automation that says take the information, write an email and send it, and just fill it out based on these information. So you can have ChatGPT trigger some automation on the back end as well too. Automate, that's super advanced. All right.
So it's kind of like an agent, a kind of function within this, right?
More of an automation, because
Automation, right?
agent will say, hey, you have a bunch of tools and you pick the right tool and you solve it. Here we're just saying, hey, you have extra features, do this feature, do that feature, kind of thing. You're just kind of still explicitly, and it could only put that information in and send. It can't check on it. It can't like do anything else, and like two functions at the same time. It's very a one action to get information in from some other source, or one action to get information from your conversation out to somewhere else, for example.
So as an example, which kind of couple of actions we can explore? Okay, go send an email. Would it send an email?
Yeah.
And what else could we do?
Yeah, so two examples is you can get information from a third-party source like an API, like the weather, or basically there's like weather API, there's a stock market API, there's also basically yes, Candy, this is recorded and I'll save it in the community. So it could go get information like even RSS feeds, like blog posts, like what's the what's the latest news that came out from TechCrunch? Go grab that, bring it in. Another way it could send information from a conversation out, but the conversation out, it needs to be sent to basically it's always going to be a webhook in make.com. That's going to receive that information, and then you're going to build some automation to do something with that. And if you want a little more of like a how-to of that actual demo, I actually have here a video called on my YouTube channel called build custom actions for GPTs, where we'll actually build, it's not even an hour long, I think it finishes in like 30 minutes basically. I show you how to build an action that you'll write a message, and then you'll say send this to john@gmail.com, and then it will package that information, and through that action it will send that information to a webhook in make.com, which will then through JSON it will then put the information in the right place, the email in the right place, the message in the right place, and then send it.
Yeah, then it will create the actual automation that we have in make.com.
And then B, yeah, so technically it can do that. That would be something that in that event, it can trigger or send that. It's like if they, I don't know if they have it though, if like that service has what's called an API. So basically they have the ability to, it's basically like a computer phone number that you set up with some code basically, and ChatGPT will write the code. You can call that service. They're basically like phone number services, you want to think of it like, but just for computers. Nice. So now the last part is after you fill out, and we'll go through an exercise of actually building one. You always want to test it. Testing right here in the preview, what are lead magnets for an AI consultancy that does AI education for real estate agents? So you always want to test its behavior here before you finalize it, because computers, again, very fast but also very dumb. You have to be very explicit how you want it to behave. And if it's like, for example, when I did my my custom GPT, that's the notes, this guy for the business coaching note action, you can always see the name up here of like if you're actually talking to a GPT versus the regular ones. Here it was missing an executive summary, like right here, and I was like, oh, I need to have an executive summary. So I went back to the brain and I went to the bottom of the paragraph, and I was like, I added down here, I was like, you need to add an executive summary. And it would be like, okay. So you're always going to iterate on it, should always be test so that it's reliable, for example. So it's ready if you're going to give it to a client or you're going to use it day to day. You're always because basically this is also coming from software development. Always test and test the most randomness stuff, because you'll be surprised, especially if you're giving it to a client. Like, the clients will come up with some random use cases that you never thought of, and you're like, oh, I didn't program that. Hey, edge case, when the customer says this, don't do it, or something like that.
Jonathan,
Yes, Megan. Hi.
can you, hi, what you could do is create like a template, and then upload that into your knowledge. That way, if you have any specifications like, okay, I want it to be formatted in a certain way, or I want this section to be 15,000 characters or something like that, that template will, the GPT can pull the structure from that template and then output it based off of your template. So say if you want one section to be like in a table format or like so on and so forth.
100%. And inside of the ChatGPT course here, there should be in here. Yeah, there's this one kind of goes really advanced into the prompting. Like, there's different, let me see, it's like, I think it's going to be the advanced one right here. Oh yeah, there's like these type. Okay, yeah. Action, purpose, expectations. Like, there's many different of these like kind of frameworks for prompt engineering, where basically you're like, what's the action, what's the purpose, what do you expect? It's always like this last part right here that you're always adding extra lines for instructions because you've tested it, it didn't do what you like. For example, write me a social media content post, and it writes it with hashtags. I'm like, I don't want hashtags. So at the very end it writes no hashtags, and then it starts writing emojis. I'm like, I don't want emojis. So then you append and you just add more instructions, so that you're kind of testing and refining it. Just always like adding extra lines at the very end of what behavior you want it. And I've also even found if you could also upload an example of what you're looking for, it will have a better reference of like, oh, make something like this. For example, like this sentence, this structure, or something like that. Excellent questions. This is actually this ultimate prompt engineering guide is like super comprehensive, like different frameworks. This is like the beginner version. There's like different frameworks that you could use. It's basically GPTs will always be good as good as your prompt, basically. Nice. So you've tested it, things work great, you're ready to go update or share.
So just one more thing. I remember on one of the trainings that you did on YouTube, and I can't remember who showed you that you can actually insert the link to your website there somewhere. How do you do that?
Yes.
That was me.
That's Megan.
Oh, that was you?
Megan.
Oh, awesome. I thought it was really cool. Yeah.
So if you're going to, and Megan, you're gonna be the MVP here. If you're going to create a GPT that you want to be public in the public store for anyone to search and find, this link and all these social details about who was the creator for it, because it functions basically like an Amazon store, where people are like, oh wow, I found you on the Amazon store. It's like, I was just searching there, because this is a huge database of all pre-built tools that are public. You would go up here to the profile, go to settings, and I'm full credit, I learned all this from Megan. So go down to builder profile, and here is where you're going to add your domain, you're going to add your LinkedIn, GitHub, X, and any other details that you want tied with like a custom GPT, and then it'll give you like a little persona kind of thing. So when it in the GPT store, they can see all the information about who was the person that created this awesome GPT that we found through the GPT store, for example. Nice, nice, nice. So now that you have a GPT, it's all done. You could just spin up a new conversation and play with it. Let's go through now the next step of actually creating a GPT from scratch. And then we could do use cases of like, if everyone wants to build their own, we could build it live together kind of thing. So when I create a GPT, I actually start with a scratch conversation of ChatGPT, and I always prompt it with something like this. You are a custom GPT prompt expert. I want you to take my prompt listed below, and I want you to expand on it and improve upon it so that it's comprehensive, thorough, and has all the details needed so that the user gets more use out of it. It's not standard, but it's just basically the main thing is like, hey, You're a custom GPT prompt expert. Take my prompt and improve upon it. That's like the short version. Here, I like doing colons, shift enter, shift enter, shift enter. And then, do you guys want to build a GPT? Any thoughts? Any like references or example?
Yep.
I know B was we're gonna do more. Don't worry. So go for it, Megan.
Say that it is a sales rep. You want the GPT to build a profile for it. For them to get sales offers. And then the sections are about me, work experience, and any other sections that will allow the sales rep to stand out. Be as detailed as possible. Use sales psychology, NLP, and the principles of Jeremy Minor, Cole Gordon, and Alex Hormozy.
What was the second guy's name?
Cole Gordon.
Okay, you're gonna have to help me spell check these. Jeremy. Did I spell those right?
And Gordon. Cole Gordon. Like Flash Gordon.
Oh wait. Gordon. Gordin?
Yeah, Gordan.
Nice.
Or O-N. It'll figure out.
Nice.
O-N, sorry.
Owen, nice. This is why I rely on Grammarly for my life. But yeah, do we get it? Everything else right?
Yeah, more or less, yeah.
Nice. So, and that's the cool thing. More or less. Just do the best you can. Dump as much as you can, because this prompt right above it is going to expand on it and make it even better. So we'll throw that in the oven. Bum 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 ba da ba da ba dum bum 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 ba da ba da ba dum bum 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 ba dum bum bum. Now look how comprehensive this prompt is. Way more information. This is super powerful. So basically what we're doing is, I think I call the strategy prompt the prompter, or fix the prompt, where basically you're going to say, hey, I'm not a prompt engineer. ChatGPT, you're a prompt engineer. Here's my prompt, improve it. And then that's basically what we're doing here. This looks awesome. Look at all of nice. No fluff, fake, use, inspire. There we go. Cool. So I'm going to take all of this, copy, and now I'm going to go to ChatGPT. Now we're going to actually create, this will be step 2 of creating a custom GPT from scratch. I'm going to click on the Explore GPTs. You do need to be on the GPT Plus plan, $20 a month, and then go to Create in the upper right hand corner. Nice. And there's 2 ways. You could, if you're feeling advanced, fill it out, but most likely just you can use the Create tab right here on the left hand side. It's always going to do 3 behaviors. You're going to give it information, it's going to fill out the form, it's going to ask for a name and ask for an image. It's just very standard. So then I'm going to paste all our awesome prompting right here, and I'm going to say, hey GPT, I'm going to press enter, and it's going to automatically take that information, put it in the right place in the form in the next page. Now we're basically cooking with the ChatGPT expert, and you do a little dance because you're like trying to stay active too. You're like, building software is so hard. Oh my God, writing code, Let's generate an image. Gotta generate an image, Put in my AI agent to work here. Nice, gives us a cool image. Is there anything else? I'm just gonna say, nope, that's good. So now when we go to Configure tab, hey, welcome to Sales Bio Builder. It creates persuasive sales reps bios using NLP and proven sales technology. And Megan, let me know if there's any changes that you want with this. and then we're going to give you access to this. This GPT is a world-class copywriter and sales strategist. It's always role task framework. Oh, sorry. I like zooming in a lot with this. There we go. GPT is a world-class sales strategist trained in a high-level sales psychology, NLP, and direct response persuasion. Ooh, I love my copywriting. I love it. It writes a top-performing sales. It writes like a top-performing sales rep who understands how buyers think and establish trust authority. It specializes in crafting persuasive sales bios and profiles. This GPT writes full sales reps bios, including a position-focused about me that builds trust using NLP, credibility framing, and future pacing. Dope. A detailed work experience section with industry-specific results, KPIs, high-ticket deal metrics. The writing style is clear, persuasive, and rooted in sales psychology. It avoids fluff, hype, vague, And then the GPT should ask clarifying questions. That's always good too. If it doesn't know a specific industries, experience, or numbers to use from there. Awesome. So the next step. Sometimes, since this is a conversation one, it could like write a sales bio for high ticket closers, create a LinkedIn profile. We could use these, but I just personally just like, because I'm always going to start it with the most randomest questions anyway. So that's why I'm like, I don't need conversation starters. We all know about files where you could get additional files to upload. And I'm going to just uncheck all except for Canvas. And we're not going to do actions. And now we're going to test. What would you prompt this this bot, Megan, to have it behave the way you want? What would a user say? User opens the GPT and they're like, I need to write me a bio. What can I put in it?
So what I would do is I would just put in raw work experience, so pertaining to sales. So basically anything, like any past experience that the person would have. So I already have like a document or whatever, like a template, and I would just input that into.
I'm going to go to ChatGPT and have it give me an example of a sales rep information to feed into a GPT as a example to test its output. Hey, ChatGPT, you give me an example. Let's do it for, we're going to meet Jake. Jake is a remote closer and setter living in Miami, works remotely, has his about me, has his work experience. Pretty cool, pretty cool. So we're going to take this basic info, because the more thing really important here is just to test it. Because you always want to test this behavior. I'm just going to take that, pop it into GPT. Boop. So now we're using GPT as a tool, basically. It's a profile builder or a bio builder. And so this is a great use case of a tool. Ooh, nice. Perfect, based on everything you shared. Now, I could say, hey, I don't need you to give me a whole description of what you work. Just give me the raw output. So I could go back and do that. So I can always fine tune this. Hi, my name is Jake. I'm a former fitness coach turned remote closer that helps agency owners, course creators, and SaaS, blah, 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 blah. Here's my work experience. Took one offer from $20K a month to $130K. Nice. Let's take another Google Doc. Let's take this. And let's take this. Just loading. It's loading. Do I have enough tabs? Let's get rid of some tabs here. Don't need that, don't need that, don't need that, don't need that. It's just loading. Internet while it's loading. Doing a happy dance while it's loading. Try it again. Exit page. Do it again. There we go. And then Command All. Command Copy. Perfect. Let's go back to our GPT. Move it to the right tab. And I'm going to just paste it again. New bio to create. Colon.
So can what I sent to you, could you use that as like an example of like what I want as the
Yes.
file or whatever.
So I could go down to here, shift enter, or not shift enter. Use the following below as a template. Colon, shift enter, paste, basically like that.
Mhm.
And then we'll click close. We could also save it as a Word document and save it. Could also. Good profile.
Jonathan, would you be able to
Example.
add this template too to the training?
Yeah. And
So we could
then
use that. Thank you.
Um,
Thank you, Megan.
Megan. Megan's call. Maybe not. Don't worry.
Oh, okay.
But fundamentally, it's like you're going to build yours as like AI consultant fundamentally. So think of it that way.
Yeah, I just wanted to see what the template is, just to use it as a kind of guide.
Yeah, this one is specific for the use case. But you could add yours of like, because we're basically what we're doing here is we're saying, hey, this is what good looks like. I want you to match this as an output. Because if we don't, like here, well, the first conversation, it's going to write it in its own way. And we're like, no. Use this as an example. And this is what we're feeding in, basically. So this is basically comes from this part here, from the formats. So if we go here to, I think it's the advanced one. So format, show a format of basically what does success look like? What do you explicitly want it to output, or else it's going to just make up its own type of output. Cool. So now we can just say, you want to do the same thing with Jake?
Yeah,
Nice.
that's fine.
We'll take Jake. We'll pop it in. We'll press enter. And let's see if it does it for Jake. You're going to have to help QA in the sense of like, hey, this is roughly what I'm looking for. Meet Jake. Change the format. Here's the about me. Here's the work experience. Is it close or is it off?
It's very close.
Cool.
It's awesome.
Close. That's all you're looking for is like, hey, if I feed it data, is it going to output what I'm looking for? Oh, then it's cool. Let me know if you want this as a downloadable PDF and Word document. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Do give me a PDF. And then also we could prompt it in the instructions to say, by the way, export as a PDF. That would be a really good behavior to save you an extra clip or extra step. So now it's writing some Python program. Love me some Python. Bum, bum, bum. You never have to know what it is, but Python is just super powerful. Oh, error. It's going to fix itself. So then it's going to write another code to fix the bug. And we'll see how far it goes. PDFs it kind of struggles with. Yeah, it's definitely struggling, so we'll skip the PDF feature. If I said maybe a Word document, it will probably be better.
Yeah.
It's going to go into an endless loop. There it is. We're going to click download. And we're going to open it. And it's rough. Now, if we had it output a Word document, that would have been better. We could go in and start cleaning it up, for example. Nice. So we tested it. Looks good. Now we're going to go create. And create, you have two options. You could say, nope, this is only for me and only me. If you're on the ChatGPT Teams plan, where you have it for your company, for example, you can set it here so that your team has access to this GPT. That's another way. I could say anyone with this link, which I'm going to give it right back to Megan. Or you could say public, anyone on this in the store, and you could do different categories where you want it to live. But we're going to say anyone, only people with the link. Click save. We have one member in our community that builds two custom GPTs. One is a life coach and one is a business coach. I'm going to click this little copy icon right here. I'm going to pop that right back to Megan and Megan only. And then we could view our GPT. So that URL basically, if I press incognito mode and paste, this is what it'll look like on the user side, where basically they'll have to sign into ChatGPT to get access to it. Now, they get access to their own version of this, but they do not get access to any of the settings in the brain. They do not get access. And I believe, too, that if you update it, it will also update the other versions as well, too. So that's one way.
Quick question. There's a way to protect the information. Say if somebody wanted to like duplicate exactly what you've done, they can still do that. Mm-hmm. So there's like a safeguard phrase when you're creating to put in the instructions so that nobody can like steal the information. So for example, hold on. With the GPT that you just created, I just sent you something. So go back to the main screen of the GPT. Oh, get out of. Okay, and then go back into like the main screen. So the back button where it's just the GPT alone, and then paste that there. Okay, and then, yeah.
Gotcha.
So see, with that phrase alone, you can figure out whatever is in the custom instruction. So there's no safeguard. But
then,
if you put in this as the under a note section, she'll create a note section, and then put that phrase. You can change the last part with the emoji. It's just me being extra. But if you save that and then try the same phrase again, or try and like steal the information or anything like that, you'll see what pops up.
Let's go. Okay, refresh. I gotta find it. Sales bar. Boop. Bravo. That's so dope. That's so gangster. 100%.
Can I get the original prompt that you put in there to block all that? I forgot. I didn't get to screenshot it. No, that's all right.
Oh, it's okay. Hold on. You whatever's in the quotation. So I'm Jamaican, so I'm just being extra to show my heritage. So that's why I use the word teeth.
Yeah.
But whatever's in the
what you looking for here? Nah.
But what you can do is say something more professional, like reach out to me, don't steal, just ask me, or something like that, and then put like your email, so that way, or your website or something like that. But whatever is in the quotations, just change it to your preference.
Perfect. Thank you.
Bravo. See how cool it is to have awesome members in the community. It's like a mastermind, basically. Amazing. So now that's pretty much what we just built, was a tool. Did all the prompt, and then basically from there, now you're ready to, if you want to monetize it, you can put it behind a pay. I would say there's not so much from here to like put it behind a paywall. It's mostly you're gonna put the link in an email to send after they buy, for example, and send it to them. That's one way you could just monetize it. If you do, I don't recommend the monthly subscription option of there are things called Fastbot. Fastbot is one way for you to build a custom GPT and then put it behind a paywall, and then they get pay a monthly subscription to get access to it, for example. This is one. I'm sure there's many other ones. Basically does the same behavior as how you created your own custom GPT, but now this is a service where they don't need to sign into ChatGPT to chat with this bot. You can give it with a URL, and that's just one option. So this will be like if you want to pay per usage, membership, or subscription, for example. That's basically, this is one way to monetize. So two ways to monetize. One, you could just sell it for a flat price, anywhere from, I've seen $150 all the way up to $500. If it's like 150 to 300 if it's an advisor. I've seen up to 500 if it's like a tool, like an estimator or something like that. It really varies because it's how big of a problem is this for your ideal customer? How much time is it actually saving them fundamentally? Like the lawn care bot, that could be $1,000 custom GPT. Was paying a software development agency. It was like close to 10 grand to build this super sophisticated estimation thing for his business. And then we did this and he's like, I need to cancel a contract. And I was like, oh, cool. Very powerful.
Was that that cost you were talking about for that lawn care? Was that the monthly, or is that just a one-time?
I recommend whenever it's doing tools like this, charge full price, one time buy, they get access done, basically. The subscription model, it really depends. There's people like David in the community, David Camacho, I think. He has another service. I can't remember the name, but it's a subscription model to get access to a GPT to converse with it over time. I think it's a career coach, fundamentally. It's all his knowledge as a career coach expert, and then he charges a monthly subscription. It's a different service than like Fastbot, if I remember. I'd promote it. He's not in the comments. Then basically you could charge a subscription to get access to it, but they have their own platform per se. But this is one that created a tool that you could do it. Other ways also, there is, I love Chatbase. If you just need a chatbot that you can upload knowledge and then put it on a customer's website or something like that, like this little guy right here, you can also embed this chatbot on any website, basically just adding the code fundamentally behind a paywall if you wanted to. This is another way that you could deploy a chatbot completely outside and separate from ChatGPT fundamentally. And then here, it just always depends on how many messages per month that they're going to be like charging for usage. You can charge to set this up for a client, but it pretty much acts independently, meaning that you could also like hook it up to Zapier and like zap the name. It can act as a sales robot, or it can act as a sales robot, be on the website, answer questions, get name and email, and then Zapier send. It could not even Zapier. It could just email that to you, or it could send it as a Zap. They don't do Make.com. Sorry, to any type of CRM or email or text or something like that for Zapier. And then second is another one called, if you want a little more enterprise level, that and especially more privacy, that one's going to be this one, which is Custom GPT. So this one fundamentally is this one's more for, you're going to put it, the other one with Chatbase is like for a website. This one is like you're going to deploy a chatbot for a whole organization, for their customer service or for HR or for their sales team to ask this chatbot. It's great for like onboarding and HR onboarding, training and development. They'll have a learning management system or SOPs, and now you can have a chatbot that knows all the information of how they do processes, how they do returns, how they anything like that. And it can be used, especially, it's really good for internal teams, mostly for a large, let's say for a department. It is a lot more on the pricier side. For like 10 agents, 1,000 queries, 99. But if you look at the industries you're targeting, law, tax, insurance, startups, public sectors, industrial, farmer, basically you're building the chatbot for their internal department teams. So it's a very high ticket service that you're going to build and manage for them. Nice.
I just wanted to say something. So now that we're studying the the custom GPTs, I came across someone on TikTok that she kind of builds them. She was showing them. So like you build one, you build another one. So she has like a stash of them, and she said, "And can you imagine when you can make them work together?" So, and I'm like, interesting. How do you do that? So if anybody has an input.
Excellent question.
It becomes very comprehensive machine when they're all kind of working together simultaneously.
Could you use make.com to do that and link them in that way?
I don't know if that's what you meant. Is that what that means?
There's two ways to do it.
I think that, to me, off the top of my head, that's the thing that popped into my head the most. So like, say if you have like a CRM and you want to, let's say, take the information that you have for a client using the CRM, and then let's say you have like, I'm going to use a sales team as an example that's new and inexperienced. What you could do is take the information from the CRM, input it into a GPT that would create, let's say, a sales script or a pre-qualification process, and then output that into a specific format and then email it to the person, the sales agent that's booked with the client. So it kind of makes, it's almost like a cheat sheet for your sales agent in a way.
100%. I'm kind of logging into my make.com account. So we could take, there's fundamentally two ways. This is way number one, where in ChatGPT, this is you're in the back end of ChatGPT. You're not on the plus plan. You're not playing with anything in the $20 per month. That's all completely separate. This is using OpenAI on the back end through the API, where you can build what's called, you got to go, oh, is it this account? Where are my assistants? I may have logged into the wrong account. Let me actually log into a different account. Let's see. So here, there we go. And then this. Oh, it's going to ask me to, I got to get a code for my email. Okay, almost there. Just making sure I'm human. Okay, cool. I think I am in. Okay, so now, much better, much better. So you're logging in on the back end. It's platform.openai.com. You can go to Playground, and under Playground, you can create these projects or like folders. And in each folder, you can have a bunch of assistants right here. And so you can have many different assistants that do different things, for example. And so all the skill sets that you took for building it on the front end, you can do it right here, same on the back end with just custom instruction here. Oh, can I get rid of this guy? There we go. So here, this is a bot that I'm going to feed it a content idea, and it's going to write a 200 character x.com post with insert idea. It's going to write a hook. It's going to translate it for average Joe. It's going to make sure the whole thing is less than 200 characters. So this is basically if you're going to, like, for example, right here, you're building a make automation, and you're going to pass information right here. This, you could do it one of two ways technically from here. You can, personally, I like to, there's two options when you want to use an AI assistant right here. They're assistants. One is you can call one that you're building on the back end. I like doing it this way where I'm building it on the back end, then I'll reference it in the make.com. The reason why is because here I could go through extensive testing in the tokens right here and be like, cats are awesome. Actually, technically, dogs are more awesome, but and so here it's going to test the behavior to be like, hey, does it turn it into a 200 character tweet, basically? And I'm like, okay, because it's very notorious to go back and forth in testing to like optimize. I spent like half an hour trying to optimize this tweet bot, basically. And so basically that's why you want to test it on the back end. Then in make.com, you can call that a specific assistant right here, plus any of your others. And then you're just passing in whatever the prompt of the message is, for example. That's one way here. Also from here, you can skip that whole process of this, and you can build, if you go add a module, type chat GPT here, and we teach you this part in the course too. You can message an assistant, which is you made it already in the back end. So you're like, hey, I already made him. I know what he does. I'm going to message him. Or you can, I think it's this one.
That would be the Custom GPT, the assistant?
Yeah, this is totally separate than the front end. It doesn't reference or anything. It's a totally separate service. But you're building it basically back here, that you give it a name, like right here, this will be the name. And then you can call it here. It will link to your account and then know, all the different AI assistants that you have in that folder. So there's the Twitter one, for example. And you could also be very specific about what model you wanted to use. Is it a complex task that you're like, hey, I need some real like reasoning? Oh, select O1. It's going to be expensive too. Or is it just a quick answer, something simple? Hey, summarized, real simple. You could use the 4O mini. It will give you more flexibility back here. You could do the same thing here too. Oh, don't choose that O1. There we go. O1 is expensive. It's not that expensive fundamentally. I mean, these tokens are like fractions of a penny, basically. You're going to fund this backend account with like $5 fundamentally, and that's going to last you quite a long time. But they give you access to all the different models. Each model is for a different type of task, and also each model is going to charge you a different token rate, basically. So it depends on how complex or simple of a reasoning that you want this model to do for that task, for example. I need to change it to 04 mini, I think it is, yeah. And then here, you can also, right here, click on this, and you could just bypass the whole back end type thing. It will still deduct from your basically, I want to say bank account, but from your wallet, we'll call it wallet that you fund it with, almost like Venmo, basically. And here you can do the next part, which is called, I think it's this one, create completion. This one you're going to do, I don't want to log in to do it, but here you're going to fill out all the stuff that you would fill out here. You're going to fill it out right in here. So all in make.com. But the problem with that is you have to burn make.com operations to do testing for it. So that's why I kind of like keep them separate. The last part to do it is actually in ChatGPT. So if I'm talking with the sales bot right now, and you can see what conversation we're talking with here. If I'm like, hey, you know what? I want to invite in my business coach. You could press the @ symbol, @, and it will show all your AI consultants right here. So I'm like, AI business coach. What do you think about this? And then it's going to search that reasoning model and say, hey, based on, because what it does is it takes some of the previous conversation and feeds it in with your response and the knowledge to output another one. So that's why it's always good to like, when you keep a conversation going kind of thing, I treat conversations like a project file. It will take some of the previous file, put it into the token prompt with your new prompt, plus if it has the knowledge or whatever from your second ones. And you could, I don't know if you could do two. Can you do two, or is it just one?
It gets the context and the brain of that custom GPT, plugs in, builds them, blends them together. Yeah, I wonder if you can do more than one.
Can you do multiple?
Oh, you can do multiple? Okay.
If I do,
I mean, if you can, it'd be kind of interesting. Like if you had worked with a company and you had like a master business overhead custom GPT, and then you had all these like different business process specific GPTs for different areas of their business, then you could just interact with the head and then just bring in, I want to go purchase something, bring in that purchasing GPT, and then just bring in all these different, I've got an idea for construction or project management that is crazy, and we're going to talk about that, Jonathan, later this week. But anyway,
yeah, that's kind of like an agent you're describing.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Yeah, you have the boss and there are a whole bunch of employees who it's kind of like a meeting,
exactly.
boardroom meeting. Ooh, this is so good.
And,
I wonder if we can make that happen.
Yeah, and in each GPT, it also has actions to send and receive messages for different make.com automations. So you could bring in one assistant that's hooked up to a make.com email, and you're like, let me bring in my personal assistant. Hey, add this to the calendar, and it has an action to update your calendar. Oh, bring in my next assistant, send this to a PDF to the team, and it'll trigger another make.com automation. And
Then they all leave with their homework, kind of. They leave with the to-do list for each department, kind of thing.
I just saw money raining from the sky.
This is, I call it a $500 per hour skill set of building custom GPTs. Like,
yeah, and that could be, I think it could be more, because it depends on the problem you solve, right? And for any industry, right? You said who were you gonna build it for, Eric?
Well, I'm in consulting, like a different type of consulting today. I'm transitioning, so more like project management style. Number one would be one, but I mean, I'll just kind of talk about it. Like, if you guys have 2 minutes, just to kind of go over my idea, right?
Go for it.
So my idea is that I had this is a pain point for me today,
I love
right, in my current business, right? So as a consultant, I do ERP implementations like NetSuite, Oracle type stuff, where I go into businesses, break down their processes, we implement the software. But we have a large team. Like, I'm working on a project. We're 2 years into this project, and over this 2 years, we're using Fellow, we're using Dropbox, we're using Slack, we're using Teams, we're using all of these data points, SharePoint, right? The problem is there's no centralized location where all of this information can come in over time. We have to go dig for it. And sometimes there's contradictory, like something that did 6 months ago, a decision changed 3 months ago. I want a single source of truth where I can go ask a chat bot anything about any piece of content that's ever been recorded against this project and ask it, all right, tell me what happened on the meeting on March 16th. Oh, we're talking about the procurement process for your business. They say they have this. I want to be able to use a chatbot, look at all the information that it's absorbed over 2 years and find answers that are relative to the project so you can make quick decisions, and then also have like project management, like the basic project management tools like scheduling and resource allocation and things like that, all built into this AI tool. So that's my vision. I don't know. It's just
Yeah, that's kind of like an agent. So you would build this custom GPTs as employees kind of thing, or department heads, right? And then bring them all to the boardroom and give them all the database. And then when you discuss something, it's kind of like a meeting in the boardroom. That's kind of how they're seeing it, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that's awesome. I wonder. Well, it will have some complexity, but it's probably
it's complexity for sure.
But it's still doable even with this. And I wonder if we could even, like, maybe Jonathan knows, I just started using Manus. It probably has even more ideas there, or could already accomplish a whole bunch of things.
Has an API.
Yeah, I just got approved for Manus yesterday, so I got to dig into that.
Jonathan?
Yes.
I have a quick question that's a little bit off topic.
Go for it. Scorpio. No, I'm just kidding.
If somebody, so say if I'm working with somebody on a project, what would be the best platform to use for task management so that I can get a notification when they assign a task to me and vice versa?
Actually, kind of funny. Someone in the comments is actually, I'm live streaming at the same time. They said that. I love ClickUp. Oh my God. ClickUp, especially for personal or organization, ClickUp is so powerfully dangerous. It is the, actually I have my ClickUp account. I actually log into it. ClickUp fundamentally is a task and project management for either yourself or a team. It works great with teams as well too. So here is a demo, an example of a CRM for a real estate agency, basically. So the way it works is you can have different folders. So folders are like departments, I like to call them. And in that folder, you can have different lists, a task list, a bill. I track all my bills for all the different subscriptions. I keep them all in here, and it syncs with my calendar. So if there's anything by this due date and reoccurring, it will also save it in there. So this is an example of a real estate demo. You could use it as a CRM, as a task manager, and especially as a project manager. What is incredibly powerful is here you could assign different team members for different tasks. They get all this is on like the $9 per month plan, super affordable, which is like wild. From here, you can also it basically is like Excel. You can add different columns. Let me go down to here. You can add different columns to store different types of information, whether it be a drop-down list. Hey, did we receive the payment? No, it's pending. Cool. Hey, addresses, URLs. You could also do calculations like, hey, what's the 3% commission rate on the price, and it's like, oh, based on this price, a 3% commission rate is this, for example. You can do numbers, columns, emails, all of that, dates. You can view this list in different ways. You can view it as a calendar. Hey, what are all the projects' due dates? You can do calendars. You can do like quarterly or monthly even roadmaps. You can view this as a, especially for like Eric, you can do a waterfall roadmap. So over the next 6 months, what's our projects going to be working on? This is a Kanban board, so you can visually see it like Trello. You can move things around for different projects. What's in our backlog to do, done. Really great for project management. You can view information if there's something on with an address field. You can have different pins for different colors. My favorite.
Add a map.
Oh, yes, it adds a map, and then based on address fields, it will color the pins based on the statuses of it.
That's really good.
And they could show information about it. My favorite is the form. You can create a form so that you can either I'll copy this link, and you can give it externally anywhere. And you can, for users to add trouble tickets, for you to quickly add information to ClickUp. And then you also get, I don't have one built more or less, but you also have sales dashboards. You can roll up information such as number of sales, sales per employee, number of tickets created or completed over time, what is pie charts, workload charts, you could track hourly down to like even hour time. You could get bar charts, numbers based on charts over a year, quarter, month. You can visualize, you could sum total, what are the total sales for John Smith or for Allard thing. Yes, and it updates all completely automatically. It's very easy to use and customize. And then you get everything on this. They technically also have, I don't know the name of it, but they have a Slack type of chat. It functions exactly like Slack, all-in-one team chat. There you go. That's what it's called. So it's an extra upgrade, but you can basically have Slack inside of ClickUp as well too. Then the most powerful thing is like the automations right here. You can do very sophisticated automations, such as like when a task is created, send an email to the person who who created the task to send them, thank you, we just received your support ticket. You can, when a task goes to a certain stage, it can update or stamp certain fields, dates, timestamp, change the status of a drop-down list, or even reassign members. To like, hey, from John, now when it goes to status in progress, reassign it to Johnny. That's his job. Then Johnny will get a notification as well. And then it syncs with your calendar. You could send and receive email conversations. So like here, if I click on a ticket, I can see like the name, like let's say John Smith. He's a new lead. We could do the different statuses. Here you get an activity thing where we're like, we sent the report on Friday. And then for internal conversation, you can send external emails from here, from multiple emails, and it will also track the conversation email from here as well too. You can create custom fields, and then it also has a Notion-like document database where you can store, say, for example, all your Wikipedias. For all your SOPs, it functions as Markdown. It does just like how Notion acts. So this is one like company Wikipedia that has everything. So when you onboard new members, you can give them access to certain spaces or certain lists only, and then you can put SOPs in here. All this is on the $9 per month plan. You get unlimited records as well too, unlimited tasks. And that's it. And then to answer B's question, it says here, if you make changes to your custom GPTs, such as updating files, tools, or anything else, it will automatically apply to everyone who has access to it. Nice. It's cheaper than Airtable too. Airtable is like if you want to more automation, APIs and stuff like that, to like robots to be doing the automation. If you still want the human in the loop, ClickUp is going to be the best. So cool.
Thank you so much. Like, because I've been going like,
But wait, there's
'Cause
more.
there's more. Of
But
course,
wait,
there's more.
And
I've been going. I'm trying to prepare for my one-on-one with you. So like, I'm every so often I'm going back to my business partner. I'm like, yeah. So we're changing this, and we're doing it like this, and
Mhm. In the community, it's not a full comprehensive course. Some of the members are a little advanced and they're like, hey, we want to get into make.com automation with like, I recommend ClickUp versus Airtable. It's going to be much easier to use as a database tool to do some automations, for example. So we do have a ClickUp. It's not technically a course. It's actually more of well, technically it is. Let's put it this way. It's a quick start guide. So when you click on this one lesson, it's going to take you to a Notion page that I have. And this Notion page, because it technically used to be from, I used to sell ClickUp templates to real estate agents. And I was like, I don't want to train you on how to use ClickUp. So I created this whole SOP. This basically is all the best videos. Some are my videos, most are other people's videos. But it's organized in a way to go from beginner all the way to like, it's everything you would want to know about how to set up ClickUp in the proper order. So you can go start, set it up. And then also, so this will teach you everything you need to know about ClickUp. Eventually, I'm going to turn it into my own course with me on it. And then the great thing also about ClickUp is they have a ton of templates. Templates for all CRMs, project management, marketing, HR, creative, finance. These are already pre-configured ones because ClickUp is like Salesforce, like go high level. It comes in pieces and you have to configure or set it up the way you want. But you, just like Notion, they have a vast library of templates that you could just install all complete free, both for also I think list is basically, so you can find list, you can find all sorts of templates for different departments or industries, and you can even sell templates too. That's what I used to do. I used to sell ClickUp real estate templates to oh, it doesn't replace some other question in the chat. It doesn't replace Go High Level. It's going to you need technically both. Go High Level is going to be for your marketing and sales, and then once they become a client and you now need to run tasks and project and operations for the team, that's where ClickUp is going to basically manage your back-end operations. How do you fulfill on services? How do you manage your CRM of clients that you're working on and ones that are already your sales pipe, or not your sales pipeline, but you're also so for some people it's like, because Go High Level also has a task and project management, I just don't recommend it. This is the best one. So yeah, we have a course on it. Awesome. It's open. Any questions? I think we've pretty much covered everything. I'm going to put the video for this inside the community so you can rewatch this because we covered a ton. This was like a masterclass. And in custom GPTs, monetizing custom GPTs, getting into the automation. Like, this was very dangerous as far as a skill set.
Can I ask a question?
Part of like, oh, okay, go ahead.
Go for it.
For my target audience, which is women who have been abused and they're on their journey of healing, when I build the Chat GPT, do you think it's a good idea to, and I don't know how to execute that without to be redundant, to run them through a questionnaire so the custom Chat GPT knows how to better help each individual? But how do you do this questionnaire without to be repeated every time, or you set it up in the instructions in some way?
There are two ways. When you give a custom GPT to a client, you're usually also going to give them a manual. Basically, also say, like, for example, when I give you guys the course lesson here of like, hey, let's build a custom GPT together for in the social media marketing course right here. This one right here, this basically is you're going to teach you how to build a custom GPT, but I give you the form that you're basically going to journal before and ask and pretty much answer these questions before, and then you're going to feed it into the GPT, for example. But this is technically, they're going to feed it into the brain, which your users won't be able to do, but they're able to take this and prompt and put this in as a conversation starter to then start the process where basically, hey, we just answered, here's my journal things, I've answered it, and the GPT is then trained to answer it in a certain way, much like how we have the therapy GPT template in here. So therapist, I think it is. Yeah. This one, it's like the questions. Hey, I need you to journal and answer these questions. And then in the brain, this is what you're going to build. This is your prompt where you're like, hey, you behave as a world-class cognitive scientist and therapist, help the user guide through whatever's going on and stuff like that. So you're going to provide them exercises to work on. Think of it like a workbook that they're going to journal with your questions, and then give that to ChatGPT to make recommendations on best practices or guidance or how to solve, for example.
Okay.
Excellent questions. Yeah, so it's going to be a GPT with the workbook, basically. Nice. Any other questions? Tom, good to see you. Can't hear you, Tom. Audio check 1 2 1 2. Mic check.
Can you hear me now?
Perfect.
Perfect. I have a new mic. I just plugged it in. So I was wondering, I'm working with a client buying a business right now. Can I make a custom GPT based on their search criteria and their deal criteria to give it and based on their resume to make it like, hey, does this line up with your goals or vision, whatever, of your acquisition, based on what they fill out in a form?
Yes. So just like B, you would have when either you're using the GPT or if you give it to a client, you would have a form that they would fill out to then pop that into the GPT, and then the GPT will then respond because it has all the recommendations. It knows what does good look like. It knows what red flags to avoid or stuff like that, and it will help the user. It's almost like the tool. You're going to input a deal in a structured way, and then it's going to output a red light, green light, a response, or like recommendations.
Okay. And do you have any recommendations on what should be in that form?
Yes.
So how to build that?
Yes. So let's take for example, for example, take a sheet where you're like, this is the final output of it. Give it to ChatGPT and it say, I'm just gonna look at the attached PDF. You are a custom GPT. I'll put this in the notes, or I'll put this in the chat. Let me start over. Yeah, I'm gonna put this in the chat. You are a custom GPT prompt engineer. I want you to take the attached PDF guide, which is the final output of a deal analysis for acquisitions, and I want you to reverse engineer it to turn it into a template, and then also provide survey questions to give a new user so that it will generate a very similar response. Something like that, yeah. I'm gonna put that. So then when you output it, it's gonna give you roughly that, because you're like, hey, this is what good looks like. I don't know what the prompt should be. So here, I want you to be the prompt engineer, and I want you to write the prompt for a GPT that I will always input these type of files. What probably clarification questions should the user or should the GPT ask? And then it should output something like this.
Yeah.
Could you, just because we're on the topic of GPTs, if you have a specific template or structure or framework that works for you when you're creating GPTs, couldn't you just make like a custom GPT builder? So you would say, I want to build a custom GPT doing XYZ, And then that way it can create the instructions, maybe a theory document for you, also provide you with great examples based off of your input, and so on and so forth. That way it kind of streamlines the process for you when you're creating the GPTs.
100%. Absolutely, you can. You could ask it in and be like, ask some clarifying questions. You are an expert prompt engineer. Write the prompt as the output, and also maybe a workbook to go along with it. 100%. You could even streamline the GPT creation process. It's actually kind of gangster. Then you can sell the GPT that creates the GPTs. That's a business. Excellent questions. It's open. Any other questions?
I think that's really good, because if I can replicate what my clients want in a custom GPT, then I can ask it questions, and then I can basically have a pre-qualification.
You could build multiple GPTs for different phases of it. One to do the analysis and the other to do the report building, for example. Sometimes, which is also, especially when you get into like the make.com side and OpenAI's, sometimes you give too much of a task for the GPT to do, and it's better to separate the responsibilities so that you can, at least from here, you can you can start a conversation with one GPT. I'm just going to pick this one, and I'm just going to say blah, 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 blah. And it does that one part of phase, like analyze the deal, ask questions, and then you're like, okay, let's create my document generator. And I'm like, oh, this one creates documents. And I'm going to be like, turn this into a document. And then it's going to be like, okay, I'm going to take that information and I'm going to generate now a document in the way that you want. So it's really good to set they're basically, if you want to get nerdy, they're computer functions. You want to separate it so that each one piece is super reliable. And you may just have multiple ones that are really good at one part, and then another one is really good at another part, because then you could feed it. It's more importantly because when you take a standard input, it could output something standard. That's pretty much the main thing from there. So yes, you can have different ones for doing different things rather than trying to build an all-in-one, more or less.
Okay. Now the last question I have is, now that we have custom GPTs, say my private equity group wants to have access to it. Obviously, I don't want to make it look like they're logging into ChatGPT and sharing it with them. And other than chat based, maybe, is there a place where I can like, hey, log into this place, this is your client?
Fastbot. Yeah. Fastbot, or if you're like a little more custom G, I'll probably see if we can find some other ones if anyone has any other recommendations. Custom GPT is a little more pricier, but they're more robust and professional in a sense. And then there's Fastbot, which is also more affordable, quick and fast. What's the price on it? Yeah, 50 bucks a month. I mean, 60 bucks a month.
5 chatbots though. Can you push those in and out?
Yeah, you could repurpose ones. You can have a much more, you could hook up Zapier like automations. And then there's also chat based as well too.
And can I put those behind a paywall?
For the paywall, it's going to be Fastbot would be the best one. Because this one I know you can actually put behind a paywall. Choose that most. It's a little more secure. And then you can use Megan's awesome anti-prompt export jailbreak hack, which is so gangster. I'm not gonna lie, that's so dope. And then they can't export it saying, hey, export, give me the secrets, give me the secret sauce. And I'll be like, no, go fly a kite. Sorry. Email me, pay me more. Oh, you're on your mic, Tom.
Is there an office hours to this weekend or so? Because they wanted to do an exclusive offer with me for all my acquisition AI tools, and they want to split revenue, but I don't know what that looks like, and I kind of want to get your thoughts on it before I sign something exclusive for acquisition deals with a private equity group.
You could book an hour on the website, and I could actually give you the discount code.
Okay.
I'll send you a DM, and if anyone wants, because the website price is like for people that are like outside the website, but I could give you like it's only like $97 an hour.
Yeah.
Think of it that way. I'll put that in the. I'll send you, if anyone else wants that, I'll put that in the comments, and then so you get, because the same thing too is like if you have questions too, you're like, hey, because there's that. It's also for some people like B is in it. I have my one-on-one business coaching program where basically that I'm going to spend 1 hour a week, or you could book as much as you want, and we're just going to go deep dive. B, if you could comment on that experience.
I personally don't have words to express my gratitude to Jonathan. He delivers more than any other coach I've ever had. What's the difference between him and others that I have is the fact that instead of you struggling of doing all the shit that you don't know how to do, he will do it for you. And by this way, he will shorten that time that you will struggle to do something. He'll do it for you so you can progress further in your business. What other I can say is just, for me, Jonathan is the symbol of ocean of knowledge. So anything you ask, he knows. I know how.
Yeah, so it's like if you're like working on a project or stuff like that, you're like, let's do the roadmap, let's execute. Let's like, so 100% it's a monthly coaching package. I'll put that in the chat as well too. It's for all the people that haven't, like Megan and Justine yet, this is technically what you get after the coaching package or after the one-on-one is basically the offer to join for the monthly coaching pack. I gotta promote it a little better. To actually, let me get it from here in Spark. So
I'm wondering, have you left a Google review yet for Jonathan? I'm just kidding.
I collect testimonials, which is like super fun.
Oh, I would gladly do this. Just send me the link and I will blabber for a whole hour talking about you.
That's because the community can only offer so much. It's like group mentorship, group resources, and stuff like that. And there are people that are like, hey, I need you to really help me accelerate, help me build a funnel, help me set up a meetup group, help me build a custom GPT, help me build a business plan. Like Keen is another gentleman that's in it. And we're going to meet regularly where basically, and secretly it's going to be 6 hours. It's not technically 4 hours. I'm notorious for staying over. But I'm going to keep a checklist on basically what your goals are, and we're going to execute every session on helping you accomplish that. And you get me to build or do so that you don't have to worry about, oh, I don't have the skill sets to build a funnel, or I don't have the skill sets to be like, can you build this for me? And I'm like, 100% kind of thing.
Jonathan, can I make a quick suggestion?
Yes, please.
Actually, two of them in regard to the community.
Yes.
One, under the events, can you put the events on the events calendar?
100%, yes.
Okay, so that's the first one. And the second one, can you create a module called office hours, and then put the links so that people can schedule office hours with you and make those payments, so that everything is right there. Oh, there's office hours. I spoke too soon. Never mind.
No, you're right. Because that technically isn't the office hours kind of thing. So yeah, there is no place in the community that people. It's usually because I pitch it on after the one-on-one. After the one-on-one, I send people a blueprint, and I'm like, hey, at the very bottom of the email is like, do you want one-on-one coaching? So I kind of like share it that way, but 100% because we have other members that are. I just kind of like ad hocing, kind of like been promoting it, but 100% no, absolutely, definitely put it in there. Appreciate the feedback.
And then also, because Eric said this and it just popped into my head, maybe you can have like a testimonials. So like anybody who's done your one-on-ones or something like that, you can ask them to do like a testimonial video, or do like IG Live, kind of like what you did with the executive coach, so that you can leverage social proof.
100%. I'm kind of like building the plane as I go in a sense, which is like 100% because I'm like, I have all of these video testimonials that I have. I usually record them at the very end of the one-on-one session. I'm like, hey, if you found this valuable, can I get a 10-second review? And then I record the Zoom, and then they'll go in and just say like really nice things. So these are like I'm just like so far behind on so much, but this is so helpful. This is super helpful because a lot of people just don't know that that's a resource for the community as well too.
I usually like to hop in Jonathan's lives, TikTok, and try to help other people to come into our community. That's how Candy came, actually.
Yeah, you recruited Candy real quick on there. No, but it's a very unique community because once you get a feel for like, again, the resources, the courses, the office hours, the workshops, or at least in the weekend workout shops and stuff like that, like it's a very unique space where we have such a wealth of knowledge and experience here that we're all on the same path. We're all trying to start and grow our businesses, some in AI, some in other spaces. And so the wealth of knowledge here that you'll really find someone here to actually help you, not just me, but also just a ton of resources that can help you accomplish with your business. And that's the whole goal of it, is just like a giant mastermind at the end of the day.
I'm going to say, just I've been here since yesterday, last night, right? I've been following you for a while, right? But lingering in the background. Joined last night. You know, I've joined another program which I paid way too much money for, right? And just this Saturday kind of live environment, and then having you being live, you know, I think it's daily, right? I don't even know anymore. I see you all the time, but like I'm part of another community where I got sucked in, and it was, here's a bunch of recorded videos. We'll office hours a couple times a week, but it's not the same. Just in the day or two I've been here, right? It's just, this is different compared to the other and I actually, when I first signed up, I had kind of like buyer's remorse, and I want to leave, and they're like, just stick around, be worth it. Well, turned out not to be worth it. I'm still part of the community because I paid for it, but it's a different level. I don't know. I mean, just what I'm seeing here. Anyway, I just figured I'd comment that.
Yeah, it's like all of you have experienced a similar thing where you've gone to other communities, you don't get access to the host, they don't do weekly engagements, you're usually stuck in a forum and watching pre-recorded type of stuff. This has been something I've been trying to start for almost like close to 8 years as far as an entrepreneurship, mentorship, coaching program focused on educating with technology, but it ends up just being marketing and AI. That turns out the timing was just right. So yes, this is truly something unique and special that at the end of the day, the goal for everyone here is really to build a business to make $1 million each. That's the goal, is to teach you guys the resources and give you guys a support network so that you have the financial freedom of their business. It provides you all of that time and freedom. And that's what I'm trying to slowly build. And that's my vision of it, is like that's why you see me like all day, whether it be lives or in the community, like I'm trying to make something truly special here as far as providing each of you the resources that you guys need to accomplish any of your goals, whether it be AI related or not.
Yeah, we appreciate it. I mean, I was telling my wife just this week, and I talk too much, so stop me, please, if I get too crazy. But I was telling my wife, I said, in the last couple of weeks, and just the time what I've learned about AI in the last 8 weeks to 12 weeks, I told my wife, I said, there's no reason that every single person on this planet cannot be a millionaire. That's it. There's zero excuses now. Like the gap from poverty versus wealth, it should be here now, right? With AI, and it's only gonna, we have this wealth inequality it should be like this with AI. Like it's leveling the playing field across the board, and it comes down to one thing now: are you lazy or you're not? That's it. If you're lazy, then anyway,
yeah,
that's the way I see it.
it's the skill sets, the lack of education that I'm trying to fill. It's like people just, once they learn the skill sets, then it's like there's
Yeah.
tons of opportunity. And so
Yeah.
a lot of people are CAI is fearful, take away my job. It's like there's a ton if you just upskill yourself and take the time to. The only difference between what all of you guys from when you came in, you've just learned a few more skills. That's all.
Yeah.
That's what's really opened up all the opportunity.
And
Does.
it's amazing that what I've learned in the last few months, I've just shared in our private equity groups and our business acquisition groups that I'm in. Of like, this is how I review Sims now, and this is how I review businesses. And people are like, how'd you do it so fast? How'd you find these businesses so fast? What are you doing so fast? And that's what the one guy I'm talking to, he literally messaged me and says, what's your number? I sent him my number. He called a minute later, and we've been talking for the last 3 days. And he's like, I'll give you 50% of our deal fees, which are 3% of 10 million. So he's like, if you sign exclusive, we can split them. And I'm like, okay. So, and that's just knowing a little bit of AI. That's
That's wild.
You know, that's not crazy. Yeah. That's like, you do one deal and you're making 70 grand on that one deal, just out of nowhere. So that's the level we're at. And my big thing right now is if he's willing to pay that right up front right now, like he's like, I'll pay for all your AI tools. You just keep doing research for us. I'm like, we'll talk, so there's opportunity where everyone in this group is way ahead of the common person in any AI form. I mean, I was digging into Clay AI yesterday, and I already knew kind of how to work it based on what I learned with Custom GPTs and Make and a couple other tools. And they're like, how do you know this? You've never seen the tool. And I was like, it all works the same. Like all these tools work exactly. They kind of intertwine with each other, So, yeah.
It's dangerous. I know, it's kind of crazy. We're getting and the thing is, we consider ourselves newbies. I don't know, probably everybody except for Jonathan and Megan. Seems like you guys been around for longer in AI space, right? But we're like 1,000 times ahead of an average person.
It's 0.1%. All of you are in the 0.1%, honestly. You watch my lives. Yeah. Keep going, Eric.
No, I was just saying, but yeah, we're ahead, but yet I feel like I'm way behind.
No,
Yeah.
Because there's so much.
Yeah, because we see what's possible and we're not there. Yeah. But what we already have for other people is crazy. What did you show them to them or what did you help them with that blew them away?
So Jonathan got me onto Manus, or didn't get me onto it. He showed me what Manus was and how to work it. So I just did my own. I'm searching to buy a business with my brother, and I put our deal. So when you buy a business, you have like a deal criteria. So I put that into Manus and just said, hey, find me a business within these parameters. Give me a list of 100 that would be our perfect fit. I recorded the video and was like, hey, watch, this is how I'm doing this. And it's going to pump out all these results. And I sent that video of that to 3 or 4 of those private equity guys. And he was like, okay, we want access to this. How do you do this? How'd you get this prompt? And I told him, I said, we have tools in our community. It looks like ChatGPT, but because I have a custom GPT that I've put, like one of my custom GPT, I don't know if y'all are familiar with McKinsey. McKinsey's the top consulting firm in the world. Like all their consultants make millions. They're the hardest place to get into. They're the top. I uploaded all the books from Ocean of PDF that related to the McKinsey way and everything about McKinsey to one custom GPT. So I essentially have a custom McKinsey consultant in my pocket, and he talks like it. He does all the stuff. And so everyone's like, how did you do this? And where I'm at now is I don't want to just send them to ChatGPT and share the link. I want to put it on the other side of it and say, hey, this is McKinsey AI, follow him for more kind of thing. So I think that is going to be huge. I think Fastbots is cool, but they're so confused. The business owners are like, hey, we want access to all your tools. Anything we use within your tools will give you part of the deal fee. And I'm like, so if you're going to use ChatGPT, that's a big deal. Like, you know, like you can use ChatGPT to try to catch up to me, but with Jonathan and work we've done with Dennis and others in this group, you can, you know, I told him, I said, one of your little virtual assistants in the Philippines that you pay $1,000 a month for can prompt ChatGPT all day, but they're not going to get my custom GPT. They don't have access to how I did it. So now I'm trying to like keep that as my own IP rather than give them access just to look at it, you know.
Yeah, now you can charge them this high fees and provide them the PDF or whatever form you're
Yeah.
going to give to them, report, right? Because that is the biggest thing that where executives get stuck with the decision making because they need to process, they need like an army or the whole departments. I think I was telling you, Jonathan, that I went to this presentation. There is a $100 million guy he's in front of the room, was telling us all these things. And he says that how he's using AI or starting to use AI. Then he forgot what Manes was. I was the only one in the whole room. Because
Yeah.
what's that thing? I'm like, oh, Manes. So when he says like how valuable that information is for the decision makers, he said we can do, which we can do too, is like they can find all the insights, what's in the market, what's trending, down, up, whatever, who is this people involved there and that decision making, what did they have for breakfast, like all the details we can have it literally in the how they do, which kind of past, present, what the trends are, so we can put it all. But to them it is such a valuable information for the higher level.
Yeah.
That was way more than $500 an hour, I would say.
Oh, that's the thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's where Jonathan, I'll be meeting with you.
Yeah.
Hopefully this weekend sometime.
Yeah, I'm building something similar.
I don't know how to price that out, but I know how to build AI consultants for business decisions and business evaluations. Because they're like, we'll pay cost plus a percent. And I'm like, okay, I don't know, you know. So everything everyone's learned in this group, even with Make and everything, you're probably 100 steps ahead. And as long as you keep that pace and keep learning, I mean, I don't see people catching up to what we know as long as we keep learning.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think just all of us here collectively, some of us are going to be on the consultant side selling, right? And some of us are going to be building, or some of us are just going to collaboratively use the tools, right? I think for us, you know, being able to even offshoot, have meetings to just kind of work with each other and use each other's skill sets to build together. Like,
exactly. That's the true mastermind spirit, where you come up and it kind of things kind of flow and you ask a question somebody else thought of and they're like, so that's the evolution of this thing.
Yeah.
We're kind of figuring out the journey as we go along and trigger these ideas. Like who was saying that the kids have these great ideas, but we have great ideas too. So it's great to have this blend of this minds, right? Which is a hard mind. Yeah.
Better together.
That's a good
And I used another thing I did was I used that McKinsey AI consultant to build products, right? And give pricing for the future products. One's called a deal book, where you get a weekly summary of deals that you should do. And it's like